today's a pretty interesting day for the Spears family, right? What's happening? Tell me about it.
Well, down here, not much, but yeah, I hear there's like a couple of hearings, I guess, going on right now. Not sure what the details and all that's going to be, but we all hope for the best.
What was it like growing up as Britney Spears' brother?
First of all, there was normal Britney, like normal life, I guess you could say.
Is that pre-pop star, megastar, or just?
Yeah, that was kind of like my world, like I guess when I was I'm the oldest, so of the two, of the three.
So what's the age differences? So I know.
There's 3.5 years between Britney and I, and then there's 14 years between Jamie Lynn and I.
Right. So how old were you when Britney first broke out, and you were hearing her music on the radio and you were like, dude, my sister.
I was a senior in college.
Right. And she was how old? Roughly? I
think she just turned 16, maybe.
Right.
She dropped the album. She dropped the album, I think, when she was 16. Yeah.
And how did you know? You're in college. You're a senior. How did you know something like mega had just happened to your own little sister? Did you hear something on the radio, or did dudes come up and be like, "Bro, is that your sister? I'm hearing."
Yeah, it was it was interesting because she'd been doing Mickey Mouse Club and doing all kind of Broadway and stuff like that for so many years, but she never really took off. So she was obviously, had already signed with Jive and was working on an album, but we'd already been down that road several times. So I didn't really know if it was going to take off. And then actually one day I was going down Main Street and they were like, the local radio station was like, oh, check out this girl from Kentwood. And her song came on. And I was just, it was kind of shocking.
When did you know? When was the first moment she was megastar? I mean, it's safe to say at one point she was probably the biggest star in the world, certainly. And when was that moment? And because being in the Mickey Mouse Club that's cool, and it's more than most people will ever do. But I mean, she was that's it. It was king of the planet in that world. When was that? When did you know that that's what had happened?
Well, we kept waiting for it to peak. It's like the album dropped and the song dropped. It was top 100, then top 40, then top, then number one for X amount of weeks. Then the album drops, number one album. We kept waiting for it to stop, but it just never really did for the first 6 or 7 years. It was just nonstop. And it was literally, it was kind of conquering a land or something. It's everything out there that was possible to get, she got.
Did anything happen, Bryan, where and I don't know, maybe it didn't, but where you had a moment of stepping back, holy shit, how did we get here? And again, maybe someone came up to you and was like, man, your sister is, or because to you, she had to be like your baby sister. She was your baby sister before, she's your baby sister now. At what point did you step back, and what was it where you're like, yeah, she's my baby sister, but she's a freaking mega star?
I don't know. As I've gotten older, you sit back and you reflect, and you're like, wow, you realize how far we have gone. But when I was younger, I don't know, maybe SNL probably, SNL, Halle Berry's hosting, there she is performing, and it was pretty shocking.
Were there things growing up, or I mean, you were already in college, but the family, that you guys started to experience because of Britney's, worldwide celebrity? Was it, private planes or mansions, going to or traveling around the world to see her play? How did your life and experiences in any way get to enjoy what she was going through?
In the beginning, it was very hard for us to travel, and go with her because we're from a small town. So, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up. But as she continued to get, grow in fame, and as I graduated and went to New York and started to live there, and work in the business, it changed a lot. Even, down to, with my daughter, for the first 4 years of her life, she didn't even know what a, commercial jet was. So first time she wanted to ride on Southwest, she was like, I will never come to Las Vegas and see you again, Daddy, if you make me fly Southwest. And I'm like, I was like, you spoiled little brat. But then again, I'm like, she don't know any better.
It's when kids do it and they're that young, I mean, it's cute.
I think my daughter actually still has an issue with Southwest because of like
You scarred
she didn't
her.
yeah, because she didn't understand like why do I have to go through TSA and security and all this? She's like, it takes so long, and I was like, I don't know. I just never thought like I'm a kid, like they could just get used to something. So
So you said you're from a small town in
Mhm.
Louisiana. How big was the town you and Brittany and Jamie Lynn grew up in? How many
I
people?
think there's
Roughly?
1,200 people that live here.
No kidding. 1,200.
Yeah,
I
like my
think
mom lives. It's not even a gravel. I mean, a paved road that she lives on. It's still kind of
1,200. And
semi-gravel.
I think I looked earlier, and I don't know what it was at its peak, but I think as of now it is only 26 million Instagram followers, roughly. Is that right, Dan? I'm asking does she have like 26 million ish? My producer Dana was filing her nails again with a sign that said "out of office" when I asked her that question. So, but whatever it is, close to like, I mean, so to grow up in a town of 1,200, where like if you did like anything wrong or perceived wrong, your parents are going to know. Everybody knows everybody. I mean, shit, my dorm in college, my freshman year of college, my dorm had a couple thousand, you your town was 1,200. And then as a family, really, you guys are experiencing this thing in a world of billions where she's probably the biggest name on a planet of billions. I mean, that's also a bit of a shock. You guys are not people who grow up in LA and Hollywood. I mean, she
No,
was working her way through it, but that's not the world you started out in or came home to for your roots.
no, it's not. But then again, like as you said, like you go out in a town of 1,200 and everyone knows what you're doing. Unfortunately, that was kind of the situation she kind of found herself in as she got older, being so famous. So I wonder if I don't know if that helped her cope with that or multiplied it. Not sure.
How did the town react? I mean, all of a sudden,
Oh, they embraced it. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, I think they have a Britney Spears museum here, where like their entire, like her entire bedroom furniture is there. I don't know what else they have there. I've actually never been, but like Amber, a friend of mine, we were like just in my dad's house where we grew up, and there's no furniture in that room. Every room in the house has furniture but that room. And I was like, where? And I asked my mom, I said, where did it go? She's like, oh, it's the museum. I'm like, you guys have a museum? Yeah.
Do you remember, did Brittany, because you have another sister, we're going to talk about Jamie Lynn, who's done quite well on her own. And I know you actually have a role in her career. We'll go back to that. But did you notice at any point, was Brittany to you having fun? Did she enjoy it? At least at one point, was there a point where you maybe were like, I don't know if she's enjoying it? Like, what type of conversations did big brother, did you ever stop and say, hey, Brittany, you loving this? You having fun? You want to slow down? What was your experience as all this was unwinding with your little sister?
I'm the kind of guy that sits back and like watches and observes. I don't, say a whole lot. I'm not the kind of guy that's gonna go like make a big fuss about something. I know how much she loves to sing and dance. So that was something that's all she knows how to do. So if she doesn't do that, she's not doing what she, I don't know, was, born to do. I'd have to say after, I don't know, I think I did 6 world tours with her before I retired. And about there was times throughout each one of them where everybody's, exhausted. I would have to say probably after the Curious, the circus one in 2009, I felt like, we need to take a step back now. So
You're seeing some burnout, some changes, maybe instead of the young girl who loved to dance and
things that
sing.
used to be, yeah. It's usually it's not a pickup game of basketball on the street that's
Right.
fun anymore. It's like it's a business. It's a production. It's a hassle.
Yeah, everybody wants a piece of you. How old was she on those tours? I mean, I know it varied, but what was the range? Because that's a lot of pressure, and that's a lot of just being out of sorts and not being grounded and not being home and around your people.
I think she started her first big one in 99 or no 2000. And
So
then
how old would she have been then?
2000, I think she probably been, if I was 20, she was like 18 maybe.
Wow.
It was right when Live Nation had just become, oh Lord, I'm going blank, but whoever they were before.
So she's
Live
18
Nation.
going around the world on private planes, people surrounding her who are not her family, anything you want, whatever you need, there's never any no answer is not an answer. It's an interesting thing from a young age.
Yeah. no was something that still probably this day is not ever really said, but you know, well, we had a good support team. You know, she had a legal guardian that had been with her since she was 14, and she's from home, you know, here in Mississippi or Louisiana Mississippi line, and she was kind of like Britney's, I guess, second mom. So we felt comfortable that no matter where she went, she had proper guidance. You know, obviously you can't control everything.
That legal guardian was intentional, which they do in the business, whether it's acting or films or touring of young entertainment professionals, so that it's an adult making sure that she's
Yes.
getting educated, having her school, even on the road, not eating, you know, Oreos for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that was, anyone in her position would have had a legal guardian keeping an eye
Yeah.
on her, right?
Yeah. But this girl was someone who grew up with us, you know. She grown up being, I mean, she's been still with Brittany, as a Felicia was, I think she's still her assistant to this day. So, you know, good friends with my mom. So we're all pretty close.
And why didn't the family go, or did the family went? You went, you were in the business. Tell me about that. But did your mom and dad go? Were they there the whole time, part of the time?
Well, Jamie Lynn was still in like elementary and junior high and, you know, on through high school. So mom had to be here with her. Dad was working, and then I didn't move to New York till I was 22, 2000, and I went in the sports side with Live Nation for a couple of years before I switched and took over, you know, the family business. So.
God. So what was that like? I mean, how did you make that switch? And when you say kind of took over the family business, and I know you're working with Jamie Lynn and Britney, what did you do? What was your role, and what was that like with your sisters and the family connection, and you now working with them?
First of all, it's always difficult working with family. I don't care if you got a wonderful, wonderful relationship or a terrible relationship. It's difficult, but rewarding in some aspects. We didn't have anyone that was actually overseeing the actual financial business development next step kind of thing for Brit. We had managers, we had business managers, we had agents, everything, but no one was like looking what the left hand's doing and looking what the right hand's doing. So yeah, there was no top cop, basically, you know, like who's like looking out for her best interest. So, you know, we as a family, as we always do, you know, vote and kind of like come up with a family decision, and they, you know, we all thought that would be a good idea for me to kind of oversee all of it, you know. And obviously I'm not getting in the details of what the manager does or getting the details of what booking agent does, but overseeing all aspects and making sure like money's being put away, new businesses being formed, brands are being formed, trying to make money while we sleep, so we're not so focused on having to tour, you know, and that being like an athlete and having to perform like that. So I think it was 2003 I took over till 2009.
So at what point, and this is, you know, you hear about this, we see this all the time with people in entertainment, especially musicians, but happens to actors, happens very often with athletes. You know, you see athletes signing multi-$100 million deals, and 3 years after they're done playing, they're dead broke. And of course, a lot of that has to do with crazy spending habits. You know, I think it was Allen Iverson that allegedly, you know, bought new clothes in every city they played in because he didn't want to pack. And I wasn't there. I don't know if that was true, but, you know, again, someone who made tens of millions, tons of money, and is, you know, is bankrupt, you know, shortly after. And that happens over and over and over again. And you hear about it with musicians, and Elton John was bankrupt at one point, and Michael Jackson at one point was selling his music catalog that Paul McCartney bought because he needed the money. And you do look at that, and here Britney is one of the biggest names, if not the biggest on the planet at that point. How many people in that circle that were even close that had access that you would have to oversee between managers, booking agents, regular agents? How many people were that had a handout that were involved some way on that team, the inner circle?
Well, looking at a situation as I would today in any kind of situation, if I feel like I don't have a really good handle on it, or I don't feel like I have the expertise to conquer it, I go and hire or find the person or company that can. So I went and hired Ernst & Young out of Nashville, brought them in and did an entire audit of every single detail of what, her business, from publishing to branding to whatever, merchandising, doll, because at the time I think we had a huge doll line, tour merch and all that. And I had those guys give me a report and showed me, and we all broke it down. And then I went back, assessed it, and then, wound up having to, make a lot of adjustments after that.
I was gonna say, so how were you feeling when you got that report? Like, what was happening, man? Was like
I was not very well liked, put it that way, amongst the team.
Did you give a rat's ass? I mean, if they're stealing from your sister,
you know what? Looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? I did what was right. So it is what it is.
What did you do? Did you clean house?
Yeah. Everyone but the manager.
Right. And just a bunch of people with their hands out that are like thinking of their own interests instead of a young girl who's out there 365 on the road. And
yeah, and the music business back then was completely different than how it is now. I mean, at the time we're moving 10, 15 million CDs, on an album. So I mean, the volume was massive. It wasn't just downloads. It wasn't all digital.
And what would an artist get back then on average, like on a CD? What would an artist get generally of that? What was their piece back then?
I mean, it varies. It depends on what their recoupment was, like how much were they allotted for marketing per album. I mean, it's all across the board.
Like low end, high end.
I mean, if they got $1 million signing bonus, obviously they'd have to sell, X amount of albums to make that million signing bonus back. And then whatever they moved over that. But if you sell 12 million albums, you made a lot of freaking money. Like probably 60 million you grossed,
Just off of the albums, before touring, before anything else.
Yeah. Just like straight up like net royalties and stuff like that.
So did you ever, so I mean, you're saying she sold 12 to 15 million CDs just at once, in a short window. She's touring the world. She did 6 world tours that you were on. I mean, you ever stop and try to get a figure of how much money she grossed in those years?
My thing was new business development. That's what I kind of focused on, which was the branding and, creating the Elizabeth Arden fragrance line with her. Just that alone has done over $100 billion in sales.
Wait, 100 billion or 100 million?
100 billion.
With a B.
With a B.
The Elizabeth Arden fragrance has done 100 billion.
In sales globally.
Wow.
I know.
Damn, I would wear that. Are you wearing that right now? You look like you smell good.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to everybody around here.
I mean, I'm sure it's for women, but does that kind of businessman? I'd spritz some on.
I know.
Just about.
I don't even know how many lines, how many different brands they've done at this point.
So,
I know
and she owned that brand, or she was licensing these brands?
Yeah, she owned it.
Okay, so do you think she brought in over $1 billion, a couple of billion over those years at gross, at least, whether she saw it or not? I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of like, that's an enormous amount of wealth that anyone had coming in.
I mean, if your brand is producing those kind of numbers globally, in a 10-year span, that's a lot of money. I mean,
so what'd you guys do with it all, man? And can I have some?
I wish I had some. So no,
easy come, easy go.
Yeah, imagine. I mean, look, it's a complicated life. Is all I can say.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, and it's a good segue into, there's obviously some things happening today in Los Angeles in the courtroom that have to do with the Spears family, with Britney in specific. But there's a movement called the Free Britney movement, and it's huge, and it's got hundreds of thousands of people, maybe millions. Are you familiar with that? You've seen it?
I'm familiar with it. I mean, I'm not up to date. My social media is not like, I would say, the best in the world. I think I have like 4 followers. So like, I'm not lying. So
I'll follow you after this. So I'll go up 20. That way you'll go up 20% today by me following you.
But I am aware of it. And by the way, like, just to see that kind of like interest in like people and our fans and people, and, in society today, like to care that much about her and, or everyone in this family. We truly appreciate it. It means a lot. So
What is that? What is it about, though? I mean, I'm not even asking you it doesn't even have to be your opinion if you don't want, but if you're an average person and you say, "What is she in jail? Is she, being held captive?" Like, what does Free Britney mean from your understanding? What are all these people speaking about when they're trying to say Free
I
Britney?
that I don't quite know, like what their meaning is, because as I said, I don't follow it that well. But I am aware that like they feel like, like it's, I don't know, maybe she's being confined or something, or held against her will in some capacity. But I can't really, I can't speak for them.
Have you ever seen anything that led you to be concerned that your sister was being held against her will?
Every day. No, I'm joking. I mean, like when the women in this family are very, very strong-minded and have their own opinion, and they want to do what they want to do. And as much as I admire that as a guy and being like one of two guys in this entire family, it kind of sucks, man. I'm not gonna lie.
But
Because like,
that that might not be entirely new or progressive. I mean, saying, the women, they're strong-minded, they want to do what they want to do, kind of constitutional.
I mean, yeah, and they have a right to do that,
Right.
like, but like I'm sitting here and I have my daughter, I have my sister, her two daughters, and it's like, you don't get a vote around here, it's like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, look, I think what you're speaking about is one is a facetious sense. I'm not trying to speak for you, and the other is a more literal sense, because on the one hand, there's, a massive amount of people, a whole social media following on one hand saying Free Britney, which, suggests that there's certainly some significant amount of level of people who have a genuine concern that something in her life is not her free will. On the facetious side about not getting a vote in your own family, that's like, me saying I have three daughters, and even though my house has four bathrooms, I often have to go outside and pee in the alley when no one's looking,
Exactly.
because they're all using them, and it's
Yeah.
like, get out of here, daddy.
Yeah.
So that's the facetious part. But you know when I say, have you seen things over the course of your life, your experience? It's your little sister, obviously. I would imagine that you care very much about her, that would lead you to believe that there's any merit to a Free Britney, or that she does not have the ability to go or say or do what she wants to do?
No, I think at this point, I mean, she's been in this thing for quite some time now. Obviously, there was a need for it in the beginning. That, as I assume everyone knows, the issues that were going on, and now they've made some changes, and all we can do is kind of hope for the best. You know,
So what are those issues? And again, no worries. I'm not asking. You don't have to get into opinion, but everyone might not be clear. I wasn't clear. The first time you and I spoke about a month or two ago, I was not aware. So there's a conservatorship
yeah,
around Britney and her wealth. What is a conservatorship? A conservatorship? I had to Google it when you told me. So
yeah. It's a very complex law. Um, California does a great job because it's held in the probate court, so it's not it's and that which is in itself is a totally different type of like complex law, that I can't even describe. Like, like, be honest with you, where someone who's incapacitated or feel like they're a danger to themselves, the state comes in and they award basically a team of people to oversee them and kind of run their lives to make put them on the right path.
so
So
that's what happened.
basically,
So
in a
Britney.
nutshell, yeah.
So there was a concern by individuals, including at a state level, or an official outside the family level, to a degree, that she either was a harm to herself, couldn't be trusted to manage her life, her well-being, her finances. So a conservatorship was put in place to where they have almost guidance or final say over certain things that she can and can't do. Is that fair enough or
They have
accurate?
100% say. They have
100%
yeah,
say.
yeah.
And was this something that you as a family were in favor of?
Well, at the time, like we were all kind of spread out. Like I think I was going back and forth to New York, so as you see things on the news, you're not there, so it becomes a little more scary, because you're like, what? So I'm calling mom, mom's calling me, like trying to figure out what's going on. I kind of think we kind of got caught by surprise with it all, to be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you. But you know,
Yeah.
in the end, it's been a great thing for our family, you know, to this point, and just kind of keep hoping for the best.
Was it initiated by someone in the family, the request for it, or was it by
I
outside
don't really, I
officials?
don't really know actually. I don't really know how that went down.
Okay.
Um,
How does Brittany feel about it? How did she feel about it when it first happened? I mean, you must have spoken to her and said, "Hey, so here's the deal now. If you want to hop on a private plane and go somewhere, ain't gonna happen. You need permission from this person, this person." I mean, I was looking online, and if she wants to spend money, there's a specific allowance, a fairly small allowance, and when you consider, the wealth that she's, so and maybe that is part of the free Britney movement. At some point, well, maybe I'll be back and have someone from the Free Britney movement that could say why they're doing that, what their specifics are. But yeah, it's so how did she react to that when you spoke to her about that lack of control over her own decisions?
I'm in the beginning. I'm sure it was hard. You know, I mean, imagine like anything like anytime you're going through like struggles or whatever, and having to make big adjustments, that is very difficult. What I think kind of got us all through it is like all of us have been pretty close all these years. I mean, normal fights, normal like, all right, I'm mad at you for a week or whatever kind of family stuff, but nothing ever major where we're like, everyone quit speaking or mom and I didn't speak for 6 months. We haven't ever had that. So I think we kind of came together. And not everybody agreed with it either. Everyone had their own opinion and like, oh, well, maybe we should do it this way or do it that way. But at the end, I think we made the right choice. How it proceeds from here, I don't know. I'm not in control.
You think it was the right choice for there to be a conservatorship
at the time? Yes.
Right. And your dad, are you and your dad close?
Yeah.
And your dad was a big part of that at the beginning, and he remains a very active part of the conservatorship from what I've seen and read. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And
yes. I'm not for sure exactly how that what his role is, but yeah, he's very active in it.
How is that perceived in the family among the other family members? Is it, hey, Dad, thanks for doing this and looking out for our sister. It's great that you're putting the time into that, or is there some disagreement over that?
In any family, there's disagreement on certain things, and everything. But in general, I think he's done the best he could given the situation he was put in, and we've had to like work together as a family to kind of keep it all going. I mean, as you know, with any family, one person might be like on stage and doing this, but it's a sacrifice from everybody.
Yeah.
Like everyone's putting in to some degree a little bit to kind of keep everything going.
This family dynamics can be interesting, except mine's completely normal. No issues there. Yeah, for sure. So today in California might be happening even right now as we speak. I don't know. I'm sure there's millions of people around the world on Britney Watch to see what happens. There's a court hearing about the conservatorship to see, does it continue after August 22nd is the date it is set to expire right now, or does it end, which I believe that's what your sister wants, right? Is for the conservatorship to end. That's what this is about.
I'm assuming that I can't speak for that, to be honest with you, because I don't know where the legal status is, or what the real truth is, because like there's so much false press out there, and like that it's I would assume like anybody would want to get out of the situation, who wouldn't? So
right.
Just take
let me ask you this. That's a fair thing, is that it sounds like a lot of the information you get over the years has had to have been through the media, through the news, and that's got to be hard. I mean, because, but at the end of the day, do you have the ability? Do you pick up the phone and call your sister? Do you guys communicate directly?
Yeah, we speak constantly. But then again, though, like you obviously, go a few days, and next thing you know, you wake up and your siblings on CNN, everywhere.
Right.
You kind of get concerned, It's like.
But you must have asked her at some point, even recently or over the last months or whatever. Hey, Britt, what do you call it, Brittany?
Yeah, Britt.
So, hey, Britt, are you excited for this thing? Are you hoping the conservator? What's it called again?
Conservatorship.
Conservatorship. Yeah. Yeah. So my goal with every episode we do is to prove beyond a fail that I am a total moron and don't know much. And I just managed to do that again. It's okay. On a recent podcast that we did, I asked our guest some specific questions about someone who's very important in his life. And I asked him how they were doing today. And the guy looked at me and goes, "He's dead. He died 8 years ago." And I was like, "Yeah, that's good. All right." You must have said, are you hoping this wraps up? What do you want? Right. You had to have asked her about it.
I mean, she's always wanted to get out of it. It's, it's very frustrating to have, whether it's someone's coming in peace to help or they're coming in with, an attitude, like having someone constantly tell you to do something, it's got to be frustrating. So yeah, she's wanted to get out of it for quite some time. What level of that is the reality? Who knows? It's like,
when you say that, meaning you're not sure if she means what she says.
Well, think about it. She's been surrounded by people and a team of people since she was 15. So at what level does everyone just walk away, or like what level does that get reduced?
Right. But I'm gathering that what you're saying is that maybe, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that maybe you ask her certain things, she answers, and you're not sure that if she's answering, she's either being 100% truthful or if she knows what she's saying. I'm just not clear.
Or just like, I know what she wants, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, what is the reality of that?
Like, what would that be in practicality?
Yeah, the practicality of that. Oh, so are you going to call and make reservations for yourself today? Are you going to
Right. Well, I guess, she can get an assistant, although it's been very hard for me. Nobody wants to be my assistant. It lasts like 2 weeks.
I know.
Every time.
I know how you feel.
Some people think I'm the problem. I'm not ready to admit that yet, but I'm starting to be very open to the possibility that I am a small part of the problem, if not larger. But, so yeah, I can understand like the reservation part and helping with basic tasks. You can get an assistant. We work with a lot of celebrities in our line of work when we're not having fun chatting with interesting people like you. And, it's not uncommon for celebrities or athletes we work with to have 2, 3, 4 assistants.
Yeah.
But that's different, having assistants, than all of a sudden, if the conservatorship. Right. I knew that. I'm testing you, Bryan. It's first of all, I'm from the great nation of New Jersey, and any word that is more than 2 syllables definitely, requires a little extra thought, and it's tripping me up a little bit. But all of a sudden, she wakes up and it's August 23rd and it has been ended. I'm not even going to say the word because I'll mess it up again. And aside from having to do certain things for herself, it's like you go to the ATM machine and, what is it, like 200, 300 million or whatever. I don't know how much money she has. Do you know how much money she even has? Does she know?
I have no clue.
Does anyone know?
I don't know. It's a good question,
actually. Someone must know. And it's like, for the last X amount of years, how long has she been in this conservatorship?
2007 maybe, or 6? I don't even know. It's been a long time. We've done many shows since we've been in it. So
over a decade, she's doing shows in front of sold out people. She's flying private. She's doing all these crazy, amazing pop star, megastar things. And then if she wants to go shopping, she's got to ask someone on the court's behalf for some money to go shopping and do something. And then the conservatorship ends, and maybe she goes to the ATM, takes out $100 or so, and a little receipt kicks out its balance and is like 700,246,000. I was like, how do you manage that? Is that one of the concerns?
I think in general, it's like just as a personal development, like, I don't know this, but like if you're coming into life and you've never had to do something and having to learn it, obviously it's a lot better to learn it when you have a lot of money and you can learn it. But like, I'm sure it's going to be an adjustment. Let's say it does get let go and she's calling her on, like, everyday task stuff. I think it's probably going to be, it's a great challenge, but it's probably going to be quite, like driving. She's the worst driver in the world. I'm not lying. Like bless her heart. Like, she really is not a really good driver, and she hasn't had to do that. So I'm sure.
And they have Uber these days, now they have Uber and Lyft.
Yeah, and I don't know. Up here in Westlake, though, it's like not a whole lot of Ubers up here. So
she does come back and visit you guys there a lot. And where does she? Right? I think she lives in LA.
Yeah, she
area,
lives up
California,
yeah, LA. Yeah. And
but she
then
comes back to Louisiana.
she was just here a month ago. So, you know, yeah, she comes quite a bit.
So the family's still tight. I mean, the fact that she's coming home to be with you and your mom and Jamie Lynn, right? That's who's at home
Yep.
these days.
Yep.
Do your mom, Jamie Lynn, do they have an opinion? Are they hoping this thing ends and wraps up, or?
Every single female in this house has an opinion, Drew. Truly. I mean, I think we're all somewhat on the same, we all agree. But
how many females
who
you got
knows?
in that house, man? The way you tell that scope, I'm expecting
It's
to see like you
really
and like,
it's annoying how many females I have in this house.
I mean, I'm expecting like any less than 10,000 now would be like a bit of a letdown based on some of the things that
I think I
like,
got
I'm surprised that
six right now. I have 6 right now.
I would expect to see a couple of hundred women like walking behind you, marching with like swords and daggers, based on your description of what this house is like, with all these strong-willed women that don't let you vote.
I know. I kind of feel bad about that, but I feel like I should speak up more. But you know how it is.
And
I mean,
is it's your daughter? Is it? What about Brittany's daughters? Do they live with you guys?
well, she doesn't have a daughter. She has 2 boys, and they're actually with their dad, Kevin. So
Right. So that would be another error on my producer Dana's part, that where she's supposed to prepare me for these things, and the fact that I thought that Brittany had daughters and she only has 2 sons, I think we should not hold against me personally. Integrity of this program. You know what I realized recently, and I'm saying this because I will make sure we say that I don't want any of this stuff edited out unless I like, you know, really something up so badly that it like you can't hear it, mumble it, or whatever. And then what I found is if I ever reference that I have the wrong information, which is on me, obviously, but I joke and blame it on her, then she edits that part out. I'm like, you can't edit out like if I'm trying to throw you under the bus. That's got to stay. But I'm just saying. So she has 2 boys. Do you guys get to see them a lot?
We do. When we were doing the Vegas run in Vegas, you know, and I was going back and forth. I was working with Caesars Entertainment at the time, and Brittany and I lived together for that 4-year run. So, you know, I had the boys there pretty much every other weekend. I got to see them a lot then. Now I don't get to see them as much. So
that's got to be tough. I'm sure you got very close with them during that window.
Yeah. It was,
how are they doing?
Run. Good. Growing.
Yeah. And are you close? Do you guys keep in touch with her ex-husband? Kevin is his name. I know he was in the media for a bit.
Somewhat, you know, like like family engagements, or if the kids are doing something.
Yeah, you know. Put the kids first. So, So your other sister, you've been very active in her life. Tell us about Jamie Lynn and what she's been up to. How you got started with her career, because she was on Zoe 101, right? That I got right. I don't watch reruns of that now. If I did, they should lock me up and throw away the key. That would create a big issue, or say something very bad about me. But that was a huge show. That was one of her breakouts. Talk about your business relationship with Jamie Lynn, your personal relationship as her big brother, and what she's up to now. I know she's on a bit of a comeback right now that you're working on.
Yeah, she's I mean, she's, you know, put her time in and done really well with, you know, some difficult situations. But basically, Nickelodeon saw a video of her and Britney doing something on, I want to say it was one of the award shows, the Nickelodeon award show. I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, they did like a little skit or whatever. And they signed the head of talent there, Paula Kaplan. She's like, wanted to meet her, met with her. And they wanted to, you know, they were like, look, we want to put a whole show behind this. So I wound up executive producing that show with them for 3 years. And then, you know, obviously she had Maddie, so the show had to stop.
She was younger, right? Someone told me she was younger.
Yeah, she was 15. And,
okay,
you know, things had to be put on hold for a little while, I guess.
Okay.
Sort of say. And then she's started.
How's Maddie is her daughter's name?
Yeah, Maddie. Yeah.
Maddie. How is Maddie today? How's she doing?
She's great. A little baller, actually. You know,
she lives with you guys.
Yeah.
Good.
She's about as tall as I am too, so it's really.
She can be like a little WNBA-er.
I don't. You know, she's like big into softball, like fast pitch. So I had never been to a ball game. I didn't realize like really how fast the ball moves. You know.
All right, so Jamie Lynn, you know, has been raising her daughter, and then I know she got back out there. I know that she's doing acting. I know music, and so
Yep.
tell me about that.
So I think after Maddie, she started getting into writing. She wanted to write music, perform a little bit. She had quite some great success with writing. She had a couple #1 songs, or either one #1 song that she, wrote the song and then gave to other artists. She wanted to get back into acting, so she did a show with Netflix recently, Sweet Magnolias, I think, that was just out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they signed up already. They're gonna be shooting for season 2 end of the year, hopefully.
Very cool. So she excited about that?
Yeah.
So what's your day-to-day like these days? I mean, you have 2 very successful sisters. Are you still actively involved in either of their careers right now, or are you branching out? What are you doing?
No, I moved over to Vegas about, I guess, 2014, and started working there in the music residency field, with Live Nation and those guys. And that's kind of, well, obviously it's not anything going on right now, but that was that's kind of like my bread and butter. It's kind of just staying on the music side, and love working with casinos, and it's a good role.
So music's in your blood. You're not changing that.
I'm not changing that. I mean, will I go back to TV producing depending on the project? But nothing's like I haven't had that quite appetite that I did with Zoe, because that was a big project for Nickelodeon. That was their first live action project, and won an Emmy. So kind of proud of that project. I don't know if I can do better than that. So
yeah, for sure. Let me ask you. Well, first, what I want to do is I got my laptop here for a second. Hang on. I want to.
See, if I had a good producer, I would have my laptop right here, by the way, too.
I did it myself. It's okay. I planned. Mine is eating lunch right now across from me, and it smells really good, and I'm freaking starving. So I really, nothing new right now. I'm checking to see if there was any breaking news in that front, but of what happened in court today. What's that? I don't know. Why is the whole matter so private? Yeah, why is the matter so private? I mean, it's interesting, but I saw one of the headlines I saw was that, they banned any media or film news crews from the hearing today. Why is this such a, I mean, she's not a minor. I mean.
I think they've always done that, though, every single time. So I don't know if that, is it just making, is everyone noticing it now? I don't know.
Is it true that you beat up one of Britney's boyfriends? What happened there back in the day?
I mean, yeah, I did a few, yeah, probably, unfortunately, yeah. Wow, your producer actually has a lot of information, doesn't she?
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I don't even think it's illegal to beat people up in Louisiana, is it?
No, not back then. I mean, plus it was like I was a senior and he was a freshman on the football team, so it's like
so built character.
It was my duty, right, to do it.
Did he do anything?
But it did surprise me, though, that he actually had the balls to ask her out. So.
And that's what got him a beat down, just asking her out.
Kinda, and then yeah, let's just leave it at that. And and I was a kid. I probably shouldn't have done all I did, but.
All right. So I've got a list here. I'm not going to lie and say that I was able to come up with these on my own, but it's possible that there are a few diehard Britney fans here in the office, maybe more than a few. And we actually heard that you're going to be nice enough to send some signed Britney stuff over that we're going to be able to give away on the podcast on As Not Seen on TV. So that's very kind of you. I appreciate it. They've already told me I don't get to keep any of it. I asked, I tried. I was going to see if they had sweatshirts in XXL, and they said no. But here's some of the questions that everyone at the office put together. And when I tell you they really wanted to know the answer, they really wanted to know the answer. Kayla, who runs our social media, was like, screaming when she heard it. And I said, Britney's not on the show. It's her brother. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He's interesting. And, it was like, oh my God, I was like, all right, cool, man. All right. So maybe you're going to get a sixth social media follower today if Kayla follows. So you're rocking, man. This is good for you. All right. Number 1, will Jamie's hit show Zoe 101 come back? And it says, I've heard rumors, but that must mean Kayla heard rumors.
I hope, and we all hope, that it will in some shape or form.
Is there anything more than just hope?
I mean, I can't say anything's been signed, but it's moving in that direction for sure.
what if we, what if this conservatory shipper Rooney is resolved, and then we take all the Free Britney people, the hundreds of thousands, and say, all right, now let's get behind the Bring Back Zoe 101. I mean, that could be a good use of resources.
That actually would be a great little marketing data shift. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm throwing out ideas, man. I'm just trying to help, doing what you got to do. Who
how many,
but
if you don't mind me asking, how many of those people, how many members are part of that movement? Just curious.
I will look it up right now and see, because that's what we can do. This as not seen on TV, my friend, this is a 21st century podcast. We have internet. So Free Britney, how many members? How many members are in the Free Britney movie? Here, my other producer came in, the one who may have answers. How many are in the Free Britney? Adrian came in. Adrian, come here. Come around. I'm done with this one. She's sitting here eating in front of me. I'm starving. The food smells good. Say hi to Bryan.
Hi. Brian, so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Huge fans of your family.
Right.
Thank you.
She's one of the ones who told me I'm not allowed to sing the "Oops, I Did It Again" thing. She said she'd kill me. How many people are in that Free Britney movement? How big is that? Movement, not Canadian. Free Britney, the hashtag.
Yeah.
How many?
Hundreds of thousands. They've signed a petition.
Like, is it a million or is it hundreds of thousands?
Hundreds of thousands. Not in the millions.
All right. She's the new research department. She has something. You're out in the research department. You just keep eating lunch in front of me, because that sounds good. So, all right. So we're going to shift all those people over to the Bring Back Zoe 101. How can people show Britney their support? I mean, if you want people to feel the love, show the love, what would it be?
They've done such a great job over all these years. I mean, to be honest with you, we wouldn't be anywhere without, the commitment of the fans. I couldn't answer that. I don't know. You got any ideas?
They should send me a check to
a dollar
TV made out to me, or they should subscribe to the As Not Seen on TV podcast, because each subscriber gives me personal validation, which is something I strive for, my therapist says, but that's a whole different story. What did the Spears family do during quarantine? What have you guys been up to?
Driving each other nuts, actually. But we have a big place here in Louisiana, so
with lots of women, Bryan.
Yeah, I know. Women, golf carts, and it's just like, yeah, it's nuts. I'm actually looking forward to kind of like going back on like a real job and being around real men and like kind of changing the scenery or something. Like, because this is like, I don't know. But honestly, though, we haven't. Yeah, but we haven't made, so I can't really complain that bad.
But like when we're talking like around real men, we're talking like drink Budweiser, smash the can on your head, and pop open another one. Like,
Yeah, and like, in a boat, like shooting cans and, like whatever.
Well, women shoot. They shoot guns.
Oh, yeah, they do, actually. I know. Those are the kind of ones you got to worry about.
In Louisiana, probably. Yeah, I was about to say in Los Angeles.
Probably shoot better than me.
Yeah, but that was fear in your eyes, man. I was referencing like,
I was referencing something in particular too, though, and I shouldn't have done that. But yeah,
that sounds like a whole nother episode and possibly some attempted murder charges that needed to be filed. But we'll keep moving. Will there ever be a Crossroads sequel?
I don't know, but I did actually see the car that was in the movie a couple of days ago for the first time since then. It was like in the back of our shop. And I was like, I thought it was a junk car. And I was like, who is that doing there? And whose is that? And they're like, oh, that's the car from the movie. And I'm like, really? Like, looked a lot better in the movie than it does now. But I doubt it will be.
There is a saying which I first realized today when I was prepping for this episode, and I know everyone watching is like, there's no conceivable way that jackass prepped with half the things he got wrong. The saying, it's Britney, bitch. Now, I've heard that for years. People here at the office have said that to me regularly. I had no idea that had to do with Britney, that she was the one that was her saying, it's Britney, bitch, at the beginning of one of her singles, and it became into this huge pop culture staple.
Yeah.
So, and I wondered why everyone here kept referring to himself as Britney. I'm like, but now I know that's where that's from. But did you guys ever think that was going to become pop culture, like Trivial Pursuit material, man. That's when you know you made it.
Well, it's interesting because it's like even after the song came out, I didn't put me, I don't know, maybe even up until the Vegas residency, I didn't like put the two I didn't understand it. And that goes back to me being a little bit ignorant of being brother, family, not kind of seeing what everybody else sees. Because I look at it as the same thing that I've looked at all my life as my little sister. I don't look at it as Britney bitch or this is,
Well, let me ask you this though. Did you ever like once, call her up and or she calls you and maybe it's late at night and you're just kind of groggy and you're like, hey, it's Bryan, who is this? And did she just go, it's Britney, bitch? And you're like, oh, I mean, maybe it was just real. And you're like, man, that just happened. Cool. That's kind of cool. No, like,
well, I got a lot of those late night phone calls. Don't get me wrong. But typically it was I was like on the one being like, wake up, or I was being the one being an idiot. So
could have been worse. Could have been like it's Britney ass hat or it's Britney dickhead. I mean, the fact that she went with bitch has a little bit of sass to it, at least. Like you could kind of own that and be like,
it worked out pretty well for her, like I have to say,
I mean, like if you went with it's Bryan, bitch, I don't know if that would have taken off,
I'm sure they all say it behind my back around here. So,
Yeah. That's the thing, Bryan, man. You got your work cut out for you, man. They're taking over. It's
They are, but you have to accept it. That's the thing. Either you can fight it all you want, and you're not going to win, and you're going to be miserable, or you accept it and you like do the best you can with it. So at least I have a meal on my table every night, and I don't have to cook it. So I feel a little bit good about that.
Other positive things to look forward to. All right, brother. Well, listen, we may check back in with you when all this court stuff comes down. Did I miss anything major? I can see the look on. Yes. What would you like? What's that? You guys are terrible. You guys are like literally kicking. Fine. Which one of you wants? Which one wants the headset?
We just feel like Bryan, as gals, we have some.
Fine, but that's this is my chair, my special chair. Then
you here comes it. Here comes the real question now.
Fine. Can I at least?
No, we can fit. There you go. There you go.
Talk about not getting the vote. I mean,
there we go. Here.
Look,
it used to be my podcast.
I can kind of slide it over so it's more on.
She's not even here legally. She's from Canada.
I'm here. I'm an American citizen.
Really?
Bryan, we want to know, who's your favorite sister?
Oh Lord, I can't really answer that about getting in trouble, but there definitely is one. I promise you that. I said there definitely is one,
but there's
but I can't say.
I can't share my favorite sister either.
That's a good brother. That's a very good brother.
She can't hear you, so.
Bryan, I want to know Britney's Instagram, her social media accounts. A lot of people are sometimes concerned about what they're seeing. A lot of well wishes. Is Britney in control right now of her social media account, or?
Yeah, she is. Absolutely. I don't know what the details are of it, of like how, if she actually physically does it or if she sends it to a team, but yes, she is. So.
Well, she's a beautiful person.
This is cool. This is outside the courthouse right now. This is 25 minutes ago where people were like lined up. This is all over Twitter.
We're gonna find you there soon.
Drew just
we don't have a great internet down here in Louisiana, so I have no idea how to check commenting until I go back to town.
Kylie Minogue, that's someone I should know, right? That's a name that I'm supposed to be familiar.
Yes.
I don't know if it's not Springsteen. Oh, she's promoting her new album on this thing.
What would you like me to do with this right now?
It blades this way, and it's just not nice. But look at that. That's like people are like outside the court with signs and stuff saying.
No, it's big.
She is the most iconic pop star, I think, of our generation for sure, because we're young, unlike Drew.
This can't be happening. This is just not meant to be. This is not my day. All right. Do we pay by like the minute for this? Is this like costing us anything?
Thank you, Bryan, for your time. We
no
so
problem.
appreciate
Thank you, guys.
We wish you guys the best.
Thank you. Yeah, we wish your whole family the best.
Wipe off my headphones.
Thank you, guys.
Get my headphones. Come on.
You're fired.
Ooh, she's selling her home.
Who's running this ship? Who's running this ship?
Hey, Bryan, you think you got problems? You feel a lot better about your life right now, don't you, brother?
No, you know what? You and I have a lot in common.
I'm sorry to hear that. All right, man. Be good, brother. We'll talk soon. Thank you.